In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the penny game to ensure that you've mastered your technical passages. Before we get into that, I want to make sure that you know about the awesome free training series that I'm doing to celebrate the launch of my monthly masterclass program. So if you're watching this at the beginning of December in 2019, then go over to quickstartclarinet.com/training, where you can see these training videos that I've put together. I've launched one already. There will be another one coming tomorrow, another one next week, and then there's a final live training that's going to be happening next weekend. So these are really powerful, to the point, directed training videos for you, and you can go over to that page, quickstartclarinet.com/training, to get more information about it and get those awesome free trainings. Now let's get into the penny game to master your technical passages. So what you're going to need for this is your clarinet, a piece of music that you're working on, preferably a smaller chunk. It can even really be just 2 notes you can do this little game with, and you're going to need 3 pennies. It's not super important that you have 3 pennies. You could also do this with 5 or maybe even 2. You can do this with literally anything, and you can even just keep track of it in your head. But it's fun to do it with pennies because it seems a little more rewarding and it's really satisfying. So the penny game is really simple. All we're going to do is take a technical passage that we've selected that's something that's a little tricky, and we want to make sure that we've totally mastered it and are feeling really confident. In this, I'm going to be using a passage from the Hindemith Symphony in B flat that I'm actually going to be playing for an audition coming up on Monday. So I've already polished this pretty well, and I definitely recommend doing the penny game with things that you're more familiar with and sort of as a final test to make sure that you're really going to be confident with it. You can check out my video on how to avoid being an insane person in the practice room, because just doing the penny game on a new piece of music will most likely just make you insane. You want to make sure that you have all the details ironed out, you really know how to play it, and this is just sort of a final test to ensure that you've really mastered it and are ready for the performance, or in my case, the audition on Monday. The only time that you may want to do the penny game on something that's newer is maybe just on a very, very small section. So maybe just 4/16 notes, or maybe one interval that's a little tricky. And especially if it's more of a clarinet problem where your fingers aren't quite coordinated just right, because then you can do that little bit and make sure that you iron it out, and you don't have to balance a lot of different musical ideas and go crazy thinking about tons of different things and hoping that it all comes out the way that you want, and then just repeating over and over and over and not able to get it. So what the penny game is we play the technical passage, and if we get it correct, then we move 1 penny over to the other side of our stand, and then we play it again. If we get it incorrect on the second time, we take that penny that we moved over and move it back to the other side. And we do that until we've gotten all 3 or 5 or 7 or 10, however many you want, from the one side of the stand over to the other side of the stand. The cool thing about this game is that it allows you to practice lots of repetitions, and it also gets you to practice doing it consistently correctly. That's the most important thing that we have to do when we go into a performance. We have to know that it's going to come out correctly, that one shot that we have in the performance or in an audition. So this is a great way to practice being consistent and consistently getting the results that you want. So I'm going to get started with this little tiny excerpt, and let's see how long it takes me to get all 3 pennies to the other side of the stand. Yeah, I'll take that one. So that's 1. And again. That one I felt like there were some note inconsistencies. My fingers weren't quite solid, so I'm going to take that penny back. There was one articulation at the end that maybe wasn't great, but I'll take that. That one was good. 2 down, 1 more to go. That one I had a little squeak, and I was also rushing a little bit towards the end, so I'll take that penny back. That one was good. The notes weren't perfect in the beginning, and I had some articulation issues in the end, so I'll take that back. That one wasn't good either, so now I take that one back, so I'm back to 3 pennies on the left side of the stand. I'll take that. That one was good. One more. Yeah, I did it. 3 pennies over to the other side of the stand. So I hope you can see how this can be really effective to really ensure that you have a technical passage down. You could also do it with lyrical passages and maybe be really picky about the intonation. You can also see how you can sort of adjust how particular you are. So there were some reps where it probably sounded pretty good, but there was just like one tiny articulation thing or one tiny rhythmic thing that made me want to take that penny back. So it's sort of up to you how picky you want to be. For me, since I'm preparing for an audition that's going to be in just a few days, I wanted to be really picky with myself so that I really ensured that when I get to the audition, I'll be able to do it consistently. You can also see by practicing it so many times in order to get it all over, you may think 3 pennies, doing it 3 times isn't going to be enough to feel really confident with it. But to do it 3 times in a row perfectly takes many more repetitions than just 3. So it's really good practice for that. The one final thing that I'll say about this exercise that might make it really, really useful is doing it with your private students or anybody you teach, because you can just carry around pennies and you can actually let them keep the pennies, which can be really fun for little kids, where you have them play something, and it could be something really simple. It doesn't have to be anything crazy technical, but if it's something that you really want them to get and be able to do consistently, give them a penny every time they do it right, and every time they do it wrong, take a penny away, and they can see how many pennies they can take home. Hopefully it shouldn't break the bank, because they probably won't do it even 100 times in a row, so you'll be spending less than $1 per student. I hope you found that helpful, and I hope you try implementing it into your practice routine and see what that little bit of pressure to get it 3 times in a row right will help with your consistency and confidence when you go to perform. And finally, if you're watching this at the beginning of December in 2019, be sure to head over to quickstartclarinet.com/training, where you can get that awesome free training series that I'm doing to celebrate the launch of my monthly masterclass program. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video or over on the training page.